Hey there everybody, I am Reload and let's talk about EVE Online. If you're interested in starting to play right now, or if you have been already playing for free, there are some major changes that are about to happen. In EVE Online you can subscribe with a monthly fee and play as an Omega clone, or you can play for free as an Alpha clone with limitations. The December 2017 expansion for EVE Online, called the Arms Race release, will bring a further extension to the free-to-play Alpha clone game model. Since the introduction of the Alpha clone state into the game, the free-to-play experience has been thought of as an infinite free trial, a rather restrictive experience designed to showcase a few introductory aspects of EVE Online. Now CCP Games wants to encourage a more long-term engagement of Alpha clones in the game by removing some of these restrictions and offering an expanded free-to-play experience. So, here's 5 ways in which Alpha clone experience will change from this point forward. Before the December 2017 release, Alpha clones had a limit of 5 million skill points which you could train at half the speed of a paid subscription Omega clone. Now the Alpha clone skill point limit will be expanded to almost 20.5 million. There are still restrictions in place. Trainable skills come from a defined Alpha clone skill set, which I'll discuss later in this video, but the way Alpha clone skill training will work from now on is interesting. You will still be able to train up to 5 million skill points at the Alpha clone pace the same way as before. To train skills beyond that, you will have to use the new daily Alpha Injector. It's a special injector that can only be used by Alpha clones once per day. It can be applied daily to each Alpha clone character in your account, and it will provide 50,000 skill points. The daily Alpha Injector can be purchased from your account management for your local currency, and in-game through New Eden Store for Plex, or the game market for ISK. Currently, the price of one daily Alpha Injector on New Eden Store is planned to be 20 Plex. Of course, the in-game market price will vary, but should be roughly 60 to 70 million ISK based on the current conversion rate. It may seem like a very expensive item when you're just starting out, but as you progress through the game, it becomes more of a reasonable amount. You don't actually have to wait till you reach the 5 million skill points in order to apply the daily Alpha Injector. You can apply this injector to an Alpha clone at any time. Since 50,000 skill points is almost the amount of one day of Omega training, CCP is aware that it may be possible for an Alpha clone with less than 5 million skill points to train faster than an Omega clone with a bad attribute layout. But overall, upgrading to Omega clone state still provides fastest skill training. It's also possible to apply the 50,000 skill points from a daily Alpha Injector to Omega skills under very special circumstance. Activating this injector deposits the skill points into the unallocated pool. If you upgrade your Alpha clone to Omega, you will be able to use up all of the skills from the unallocated pool on any skills EVE Online has to offer. So what happens when your Omega clone account lapses back into the Alpha state? Just as before, you get to keep using all of the skills from the Alpha clone skill set that you have trained so far. Except now, instead of 5 million, the limit is 20.5 million skill points. Now that the skill point limit has been raised by more than 4 times, let's take a look at the expanded Alpha clone skill set. Prior to this update, Alpha clones were locked into whatever faction the player chose in the beginning. Everything from ships to weapons was restricted to faction preference. This major restriction is now a thing of the past. Following the Arms Race release, Alpha clones will be able to cross-train into any faction. It doesn't matter whether you choose Hamar, Galdari, Galantia or Minmatar, you will be able to train skills from ship command, defensive and weapon systems of all Empire factions. Selecting a faction for your Alpha clone character boils down to your personal backstory and cosmetic preference, just as it is for Omega clones. No longer will Galantia be a faction of choice for Alpha clones only because of their superior Alpha clone ship lineup. Now Amar Alpha clone characters will be able to train and fly a Vexor, which is a very powerful Galantia cruiser if they so choose. In fact, ability to cross-train opens up the possibility for Alpha clones to fly pirate faction ships, which require training in ship command skills of multiple factions. For example, the intrepid Alpha clone explorers will now be able to fly the Astro, which requires Amar and Galantia frigate skills. You still won't be able to use a cloaking device on the Astro, but you will be able to take advantage of boosted bonus stats for data and relic analyzers as well as scanner probe strength. But more on the ship lineup a little bit later. Aside from the cross-training restrictions, another big hurdle that was lifted is Alpha Clone's inability to use Tech 2 weapons. Tech 2 weapons are the more powerful variants of the standard armament in EVE Online. Now with bigger and better skill set, Alpha Clone characters can train Tech 2 small and medium weapons. Not only are these Tech 2 weapons unlocked, but you can train their specialization up to level 3. That includes all Tech 2 variants of small and medium turrets, as well as Tech 2 rockets, light missiles, heavy missiles, and heavy assault missile specializations. This increased firepower from Tech 2 weapons will also come with added bonus of the respective Tech 2 ammo. For example, Alpha Clones will be able to utilize Scorch ammo for Tech 2 pulse lasers that offers very good range, or switch it up to conflagration for more damage compared to standard ammo. Tech 2 ammo will now offer Alpha Clones more freedom in tailoring damage type, strength, and distance. If you prefer to use drones for damage, Alpha Clone characters will also be able to deploy Tech 2 light and medium scout drones, once appropriate faction drone specialization skills are trained. Alpha Clones can specialize in Tech 2 drones up to level 2. It goes without saying that now Alpha Clones will be able to participate in more PvE and PvP activities. Also, with these changes, Alpha Clones should be able to fit most ships according to their corporation and alliances fitting doctrines, without having to downgrade to Tech 1 variants provided the skills are trained up accordingly. All of these shiny Tech 2 weapons have to be fitted somewhere, and now Alpha Clones will have a wider variety of ships to choose from. The restriction on all Tech 2 battlecruisers has been lifted. Previously, the only battlecruisers that could be piloted by Alpha Clone character was a Gnosis, which barely had any skill requirements to fly. Now there's way more choice. Each faction has 3 battlecruisers to choose from. These ships are bigger and slower than cruisers, but they have more fitting ports, allowing you to fit for higher damage per second and better defense. Just like cruisers, battlecruisers typically use medium weapons and can take advantage of the Tech 2 variants newly available to Alpha Clones. But each faction has one battlecruiser that can fit large battleship-sized weapons at the expense of having much weaker defenses. With access to battlecruisers and aided by Tech 2 medium weapons, Alpha Clones are given an opportunity to effectively run level 3 missions and make a bigger difference in PvP combat. So now we're onto our last and the most controversial change that's happening to Alpha Clones, and that is the introduction of battleships into Alpha Clone ship lineup. These are the largest and most powerful Tech 1 subcapital ships in the game, and they are being phased in very cautiously. Alpha Clones will not be able to use Tech 2 large weapons, only Tech 1 variants will be accessible at this time. This is still theoretically enough to be able to run level 4 missions, but personally I would have to test out a few fits to figure out if completing some missions will be out of reach for Alpha Clones. CCP will be carefully monitoring the balance of the game and watching out for negative effects of giving Battleship access to Alpha Clones. Some adjustments are possible in the future, and we may see the restriction on Tech 2 large weapons being lifted, or in a worst case scenario, access to battleships being rolled back. Regardless, vastly expanded skill set provides Alpha Clones with quite a lot of freedom to operate within EVE Online. This is no longer an unlimited free trial, but a viable way to play EVE Online long-term for free. There are of course still many limitations in place to avoid various exploits and encourage players to subscribe to the Omega Clone state. If you were hoping to get into industrial activities such as mining or manufacturing as part of the free-to-play Alpha Clone state, you will see a noticeable absence of any additional industry skills in the expanded skill set. You can still mine at an introductory level with a venture frigate and even harvest gas for some decent income, but you still won't be able to pilot mining barges. Similarly, you can do some basic manufacturing but won't be able to scale up your production line. Planetary interaction is completely inaccessible to Alpha Clones, because otherwise there's a potential for an unlimited flood of planetary interaction materials that will crush in-game economy. So from the industrial side of things, the Alpha Clone state still remains an unlimited free trial. But the idea behind the Alpha Clones is that they're supposed to be the consumers of in-game materials rather than producers, for the exact same reason as completely restricting planetary interaction. Since anybody can create any number of free accounts and then turn those into producing in-game materials, that will completely upset the balance of economy. So that's why the rates of production are quite limited. Those activities are still accessible for free, but you won't be able to scale them up. For everything else, from exploration to mission running to PvP, the free-to-play Alpha Clone state is now very competitive in-game. It's a good time for older players to come back and see what's changed in the game, and for new players to try it for the first time. The free-to-play Alpha Clone state has been running for more than a year, and these are the 5 major ways that it's changing with the new Arms Race release. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions about EVO Online or the free Alpha Clone state, drop a comment on this video. If you're thinking of trying out EVO Online, check out the link in the description of this video to get additional 250 skill points when you start out. And for more EVO Online guides and live streams, please subscribe to my channel. I'm Reload, wishing you a safe flight.